2025, the Engineers Department published a new fee structure for burial and services in that very cemetery. And I assure this House that even the increases listed there cannot suffice for the maintenance of the Lee Repentir Cemetery. The costs range from $3,000 to $24,000. Not everybody who dies bury in the Lee Repentir Cemetery. They bury all across the country. Some days there is nothing going on there. I also recall, Mr. Speaker, that in 2023, the Council's proposal to have properties in the city revalued. Sir, as you are aware, that many persons have turned what used to be cottages into 5- and 6-story buildings, and they're still paying the same rates as though it was a cottage. More services, more people, more housing, more businesses, and they're expected to provide the services, but they cannot revalue the properties. Mr. Speaker, I further recall newsroom reporting that the Honorable Vice President Barrett Jagdeo has consistently stated that under PPPC administration, there will be no increase in property taxes in Georgetown. But yet we expect the City Council to carry out its mandate. In June 2023, he addressed concerns, that is the Vice President, about potential tax hikes, emphasizing that the PPPC had no plans to raise taxes in the city. He highlighted that previous contracts under the past government aimed to update property valuations, which could have led to increased taxes, but he said the PPPC opposed such measures. May I ask the Honorable Juanette Jill, why is his ministry collecting payments for billboards around the city when in the 2801 law, it gives that right to the mayor and city councilors of Georgetown? Thank you. And so, Mr. Speaker, we can go on and on throwing words back and forth and back and forth and forth and back, but that will not solve the issue of the maintenance of the Lee Repentir Cemetery. I wish, therefore, sir, to highlight once again the fourth whereas clause. It says, the Georgetown City Council is unable, Honorable Parag, to garner adequate funds to provide services such as security and maintenance, among others. I rest my case, sir. Let me turn my attention to the Honorable Minister Ramson. Always hear he bantering about this ground opposite me and, you know, what the government doing and so. What I like about what he says is that he met a ground. Not like in other cases where he would come and say there were bushes and they turned it into a playfield. He met a ground. And I want to tell him something about that ground. That ground was an open space filled with bushes. And it was used by some unsavory characters to hide properties which they stole from people in the community and surrounding communities. And during that time, Mr. Speaker, I became very familiar with the officers at the impact base on Brick Dam, at the Brick Dam police station. And they were very helpful. And I remember after one incident, the officer, I wouldn't call his name, he's still in the force, don't want him to get sent home, said, you know, the best thing for us to do is to clear this area and ensure that there are no bushes or any encumbrances that these characters can use. And Mr. Speaker, that thought shared became the catalyst for the beginning of the present Playfield being in the state that it was as the Honorable Minister found it. He said he put up a fence, and I disagree with him. He replaced the fence, part of the fence. He said it is now being used by the youths in the community and other communities. I have news for you, Mr. Minister. I have a file this thick with requests and responses to young people in the La Penitence, Rheinveld areas who held various programs on that very field. We even had a Rounders Club on that very field, representing the communities. And so what you're doing is nothing new. It's just a continuation. And it is your duty to do that. Just as it was my duty to ensure that that field was kept in pristine condition, even when you were in office. So this back and forth and back, we are tired of it. Let me turn my attention not to the member who has not placed a motion or a question in this house, but to the Honorable Minister Parag. Honorable Parag, you spoke about putting up a fence on the Cemetery Road on the eastern and western side. I want to say to you that there's always been a fence there. I am telling you, there's always been a fence there. When the coalition government went into office, they refurbished it and they put up a new fence. And they took away all the wiring, all the fencing disappeared. And I assure you, that same fence that you put up, I lived there, madam, for 60-odd years. I assure you that that will go too. You spoke about putting the concrete between the tombs, and I heard the Honorable Minister Edgell said that too. I just want to tell you something. That is already happening. It is already happening. They're already putting concrete between the tombs. It is not anything new. What we have to do is to deal with those places where burial is not taking place presently. You speak about the city council's mismanagement. Madam Minister, if there is mismanagement at the City Council of Georgetown as the minister, call in the police. But what I would advise you is for you and your government to rethink of the present structure of our city council. It's long outdated. We need to change it and make it more modern so that they can operate in a manner that can be able to not only manage the city properly, but also to have a tier whereby we can have more participation and it can be run from a business perspective. Mr. Speaker, I know that there are some of us who come to this house just to make noise. But I will not, Mr. Speaker, I will not, Mr. Speaker, be distracted this afternoon. The last whereas clause, sir, of this motion calls for an implementation plan for maintenance of the Lee Repentier Cemetery, a maintenance plan. You see, sir, investing millions of dollars into new projects is pointless if we don't maintain them. Lack of maintenance leads to costly failures, safety hazards, and expensive repairs down the line. What we need is a proactive maintenance plan which will extend the lifespan of the infrastructure, which will save taxpayers' money and ensure services remain reliable. Mr. Speaker, prioritizing continuous upkeep over new development is not just smart, it's responsible governance. And so, sir, today, I wish to thank all the members who spoke on this motion, all of them. Sir, this 17th day of February 2025, give this House, through this motion, an opportunity to do what is right. And that is to ensure that the Lee Repentier Cemetery is put into a position where persons can visit the tombs or the resting place of their loved ones, and persons who seek to bury their loved ones can do so without fear and without having to walk with a chainsaw. Mr. Speaker, this evening, the true test of democracy is not in the victory of which side win. The true test, sir, would be for the people of Guyana, in this house and out of this house, to be able to visit the Lee Repentier Cemetery sir, and use it for the purpose it was built for, to be able to visit their loved ones, to be able to bury their loved ones, and to be able, sir, to look at this space in our country and feel proud. It would be able to allow persons, sir, not to be afraid to enter in, not to have to pay for police escort to take them in, but rather, sir, to be able to enjoy the ambience, to enjoy their visits, and most of all, to be able to recognize that their taxpayers' dollars is being spent for the upkeep, the maintenance of the Lee Repentir Cemetery. Sir, there are some amendments as read by the honorable member, and we on this side, we have no fear of those amendments. And we support the amendments. Because, sir, we would like to see the people of Georgetown and Guyana as a whole benefit from the use of the Lee Repentir Cemetery. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member, Ms. Lawrence, and Honorable Member, Ms.